from doing the things they want.
Well, for example, I was watching the Tyra Banks show, and there was a girl on who wanted to wear a tux to prom, and her principal said, no, if you wear the tux to prom, then we're not going to let you walk across the stage. And I've heard other things similar to that, like guys who wanted to wear dresses and they weren't allowed to, or like girls whose dresses were too inappropriate when they really weren't. Like there's a girl whose dress is like the length of mine, and her teacher said her principal said she wasn't allowed to wear it. So sometimes there is a culture, and culture informs laws and systems and institutions, and sometimes those institutions prevent you from expressing yourself the way you want and from breaking gender constructs. You can't always blame it on the individual.
But individuals are the makers of systems and culture. So if it's not on us, right, and if it's not on me to call out those girls that I see making really piss poor decisions for themselves, how are we going to shift systems and culture?
I agree that individuals do make systems, but it's very hard for one individual to break an entire system, an entire culture, without support from a group of other individuals.
Everyone wants to argue. So what you said that struck me was, oh, well, shouldn't we call out women who are, perpetuating rape culture? And what's so interesting to me is I think that there is an incredibly powerful force of validation that people receive for embodying female sexual stereotypes, right? And I don't think that the way to counteract that is by blaming or calling out people. I think that if we need to create a society where multiple forms of sexual expression are validated, because to me that is the key force. When my 4-year-old niece wears pink or likes Disney princesses, she receives huge praise, from most people. Look at this beautiful little girl. Are you like Cinderella? And people give her happy things, and it's the same thing. When people give women praise for dressing in a way that other people would consider oh, this is objectifying. So I feel like if we want to change that, there has to be more validation of other modes of expression.
I hear you, and those girls make a culture that makes me less safe. So I blame them for that. I'm mad at them for that.
The other thing, I feel like I understand that the culture is created by validation and especially male validation, with encouraging girls to dress slutty or whatever.
That's what gets you attention, right?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I understand that that's what's encouraged, but there is women they want to be in a safe environment, and they get angry when men are objectifying them. And I think there is a huge, if you ask most women, is it okay for a guy to be I don't know, coming onto you, making eyes at you and treating you disrespectfully and all that kind of stuff? Most women will say absolutely not, but then they'll turn around and wear the tiny short skirts and too tight clothes and stuff like that that prompts that behavior. And so it's if men aren't allowed to objectify us, what makes it okay for us to say when we do it, it's sexual empowerment, but when they do it to us, it's oppression?
Well, what I think most people expect, rightly, is that they will have control over other people's reactions, regardless of what they're wearing. So I think that people, women who are I'm going to wear my, short skirt, and I'm going to do the smoky eye when I go out to, the keg or whatever, or, someone's party. I think that they are I feel hot, you know, I feel good about myself, and they're not like, you know, and you know what I hope happens tonight? I hope someone totally grabs my ass when I don't want them to. I mean, I think that people have the belief that they still have control over other people's reactions to them, you know, and so they're trying to elicit like validation and attention that they want, but, you know, fully expect that people are not going to cross their boundaries. And I feel like people do have a right to expect that, you know, like it's okay to dress sexy and still feel like you can,
I don't get how
you know.
people can expect that. I feel like maybe, sure, like you make the first mistake, but then wouldn't you at some point learn, like this is the kind of attention you're gonna get when you dress this way. So I feel like girls that dress like that know the response they're gonna get, and maybe they like it. I mean, that's the only reason I can think of for why you'd ever sort of just put yourself in that position. I feel like I just can't, yeah.
Well, I think like people are saying all the time that like girls are always putting themselves in that position. I think that like it's the same almost at the same and the opposite with guys. Like I've been told on multiple occasions, like, 'cause I'm a guy that like likes to look good like in general occasions, and that's something I'm like going out. I've been told like, no, you have to just like put on a t-shirt, or like, no, like don't wear those nice shoes, wear your like more crummy sneakers, because like you're not supposed to be the one that's like looking good or anything, and that's also just like giving not the right masculine image. So I don't think it's just this like girl thing, and people have to always worry about that. It's like guys are always, I think, have to play like this like casual approach to how they like enter a room or a party, for instance.
Well, then I think that the same argument that I'm using for women would be applied to men too, because you could like, I think that the guys then have the choice to make like, well, I'm going to dress how I want to dress, or I'm going to not dress how I want to dress. I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's this like cultural, it's like this cultural thing that's like, guys aren't like, I think, and yeah, guys are supposed to be like this like steady point, and like it's like the girls that are kind of like on show. But then like on the flip side of that, the guys, like I'm supposed to be the one that's like going after you, right? So I'm like told to play this role of like, no, I'm cool, but also like I need to tell you what I want, because like you're the one that's looking really nice and I'm not.
Yeah, but I think that also like, just because you're a man doesn't mean you're not a human that is like in an interaction with another person. And I feel like it's so easy for people to say, oh, well, like society tells guys to be aggressive, or society tells, but like, what about just like the same way that society tells us to like be, you know, culture might tell us to be violent. There's a lot of